Jasodanandana Vraja Janarandana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jasodanandana Vraja Janarandana Jasodanandana Vraja Janarandana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Vishvat Paramahamsa Acharya Ashvatara Sata Sri Srimad Vangres Esi Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Jaya Vishvat Paramahamsa Acharya Ashvatara Sata Sri Srimad Vangres Srila Bhakti Bhagavad Gita Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnavrinda Ki Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Sikho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Bhavanityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sivasadi Gaur Bhaktavrinda Ki Jai Sri Sri Radha Krishna Gop Gopinath Shyama Kunda Radha Kundgiri Govardhan Ki Jai Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai Mayapur Navadvip Dham Ki Jai Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai Ganga Mai Ki Jai Jamuna Mai Ki Jai Srimati Tulasi Devi Ki Jai Bhakti Devi Ki Jai Sri Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai Sri Sri Radha Madan Mohan Ki Jai Sri Sri Gaunitai Ki Jai Sri Sri Jagannath Subhadra Baladev Ki Jai Gaura Premanandi All glories to the Samadhivatis All glories to the Samadhivatis All glories to the Samadhivatis All glories to Sri Guru Sri Gauranga All glories to Srila Prabhupada Hare Krishna Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Pasya Bhutare Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Bhacharini Nirvesesha Sunyavadi Pastyatadatarini Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayet Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Sloke Bhaktir Bhavati Nashtiki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nanda Gopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namah. Hare Krishna, Shrimad Bhagavatam, 4th Skanda, 9th chapter, sloka number 16. Yasmin viruddhagatayo yani sampatanti vidyadayo vivida saktaya anupurvyat tad brahma visvabhamekam anantamadyam anandamatramavikaramahamam prapadye. Dhagatayo kamanantamadyam anandamatramavikaramahamam prapadye. Sri Sri Gaunitai ki jai, Sri Sri Radha Madan Mohan ki jai, Sri Sri Jagannath Subhadra Baladev ki jai. Yasmin viruddhagatayo yani sampadanti vidyadayo vivida saktaya anupurvyat tad brahma visvabhamekamanantamadyam anandamatramavikaramahamam prapadye. The Vaishnavis. Yasmin, in whom viruddhagatayaha, of opposite character, he certainly, anisam, always, patanti, are manifest, vidya adayaha, knowledge and ignorance, etc., vividha, various, saktayaha, energies, anupurvyat, continually, Tat, that, Brahma, Brahman, Vishwabhavam, the cause of material creation, Ekam, one, Anantam, unlimited, Adyam, original, Anandamatram, simply blissful, Avikaram, changeless, Aham, I, Pramadye, offer my obeisances. Translation, my dear Lord, in your impersonal manifestation of Brahman, there are always two opposing elements, knowledge and ignorance. Your multi-energies are continually manifest, but the impersonal Brahman, which is undivided, original, changeless, unlimited, and blissful, is the cause of the material manifestation. Because you are the same impersonal Brahman, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. Please repeat. My dear Lord, in your impersonal manifestation of Brahman, there are always two opposing elements, knowledge and ignorance. Your multi-energies are continually manifest, but the impersonal Brahman, which is undivided, original, changeless, unlimited, and blissful, is the cause of the material manifestation. Because you are the same impersonal Brahman, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. In the Brahma Samhita, it is said that the unlimited impersonal Brahman is the effulgence of the transcendental body of Govinda. In that unlimited effulgent aura of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, there are innumerable universes with innumerable planets of different categories. Although the Supreme Person is the original cause of all causes, his impersonal effulgence, known as Brahman, is the immediate cause of the material manifestation. Dhruva Maharaj, therefore, offered his respectful obeisances unto the impersonal feature of the Lord. One who realizes the impersonal feature can enjoy the unchangeable Brahmananda described here as spiritual bliss. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur describes that this impersonal feature of Brahman manifestation of the Supreme Lord is meant for persons who are essentially very advanced, but still not able to understand the personal features or variegatedness of the spiritual world. Such devotees are known as Jnana Misra Bhaktas, or devotees whose devotional service is mixed with empiric knowledge. Because the impersonal Brahman realization is a partial understanding of the Absolute Truth, Dhruva Maharaj offers his respectful obeisances. It is said that this impersonal Brahman is the distant realization of the Absolute Truth. Although apparently Brahman seems to be devoid of energy, factually it has different energies working under the headings of knowledge and ignorance. On account of these different energies, there is continually a manifestation of vidya and avidya. Vidya and avidya are very nicely described in the Isopanishad. It is said there that sometimes, due to avidya or a poor fund of knowledge, one accepts the absolute truth as ultimately impersonal. But in fact, the impersonal and personal realizations develop in proportion to the development of devotional service. The more we develop our devotional service, the more closely we approach the Absolute Truth, which in the beginning, when we realize the Absolute Truth from a distant place, is manifest as impersonal. People in general who are under the influence of avidya sakti or maya have neither knowledge nor devotion. But when a person who is a little advanced and is therefore called a jnani advances even more, he is in the category of a jnana misra bhakta, or a devotee whose love is mixed with empiric knowledge. When he is still further advanced, he can realize that the Absolute Truth is a person with multi-energies. An advanced devotee can understand the Lord and his creative energy. As soon as one accepts the creative energy of the Absolute Truth, the six opulences of the Supreme Personality of Godhead are also understood. Devotees who are still further advanced in full knowledge can understand the transcendental pastimes of the Lord. Only on that platform can one fully enjoy transcendental bliss. An example is given in this connection by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur of a person proceeding towards a destination. As he approaches, he sees the destination from a distant place, just as we see a city from a distance. At that time, he simply understands that the city is situated at a distance. When, however, he comes still nearer, he sees the domes and flags. But as soon as he enters the city, he sees various paths, gardens, lakes, and marketplaces with shops and persons buying. He sees varieties of cinema houses, and he sees dancing and jubilation. When a person actually enters the city and personally sees the activities of the city, he becomes satisfied. Om Ajnanatimidandasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chakshuranmilitam Jena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namah Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Ghada Mahyam Dadati Sapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yuttapada Kamalam Sri Yutam Vaishnavanscha Sri Gurun Vaishnavanscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatham Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parichana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Visakham Vitanscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vaishnavanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpatarubhasya Kripa Sindhubhyayivacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna. In this sloka spoken by Dhruva Maharaj, in ecstasy of praising the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Vishnu, who is standing in front of him, Dhruva Maharaj, having been blessed by the Supreme Lord with a touch of the Lord's conch shell, he is now expressing himself in submission to the Lord and glorifies the Lord in many different ways. He has already glorified the Lord in the previous sloka as the Sarvantaryamin, the super soul dwelling in everyone's heart and directing the wanderings of all the living entities, having full knowledge, past, present, and future, and so on. He is the Lord of the entire creation, and he conducts the affair of the material world from his state of Yoga Nidra. In this way, Dhruva Maharaj has already glorified the Lord in many ways. knowing him to be the Supreme Lord. Now in this sloka, he glorifies the impersonal feature of the Lord, which is generally understood by impersonalists. Impersonalists are those who do not accept the personality of Godhead, but understand the absolute truth as impersonal, unlimited, covering everything, being the source of everything, without any specific quality, undefinable, and so on. So how Dhruva Maharaj is now offering his obeisances to the impersonal Brahman, this is something which is very extraordinary on the part of Dhruva Maharaj. How did he come to this realization? That is only understood by the special blessings of Lord Narayana standing in front of him. Unless we perform very great tapasya and a complete renunciation, it is not possible to understand the impersonal Brahman. So I don't have any background of tapasya or austerity or anything like that, any special detachment. So how can we speak about the impersonal Brahman? By definition, it is without quality. So something without quality, how can it be described? And how can we offer obeisances? Here, Dhruva Maharaj. But we understand that Dhruva Maharaj is not specifically offering obeisances to Brahman, Nirakar Brahman, but he understands that Nirakar Brahman is one aspect of the Supreme Lord. So he is offering obeisances to the Supreme Lord, who is also understood by some transcendentalists as being impersonal. This is a partial realization, but it is part and parcel of the Supreme Personality of God, and therefore he offers obeisances. Otherwise, where shall we offer obeisances? Here, there, anywhere, up, down? No? We cannot see, we cannot hear, we cannot touch, we cannot have any realization, actually, of what is the impersonal Brahman. But those who are devotees of the Lord, they don't discard, as here, Dhruva Maharaj is giving a very good example of, although he is a devotee of the Lord, but he also understands that the Lord includes the impersonal aspect. Impersonal aspect has also been described in the Shrimad Bhagavad Gita in the different slokas. For instance, 14th chapter, 27th sloka, Lord Krishna says that Brahmanohi parishtaham amritasya vyavasyatcha sasvatasya dharmasya sukhasya ikantikasya. And I am the basis of the impersonal Brahman, which is immortal, imperishable, and eternal, and is the constitutional position of ultimate happiness. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada explains what is the impersonal Brahman and what is the relative position of the personal and impersonal aspects of Lord Krishna, and what is the position of the impersonalist, and so on. Srila Prabhupada mentions that at this stage, the Brahman realized person is transcendental to the material position, but he is not actually perfect in Brahman realization. If he wants, he can continue to stay in the Brahman position and then gradually rise up to the Paramatma realization and then to the realization of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So the basic realization is impersonal, but gradually, if one is blessed by superior association, especially by a devotee of the Lord, he can gradually come up with the point of personal realization. There are many examples of this in Vedic literature. The four Kumaras were situated first in the impersonal Brahman conception of truth, but then they gradually rose to the platform of devotional service. As we have seen in the Shrimad Bhagavatam, the description of the four Kumaras, they were Brahmagyanis. They were just small boys. They are not interested in anything material. Lord Brahma had requested them, please, beget progeny, get married, beget children. What is that? This is a very good service you can do. We have to populate the universe, so please help me in that matter. No, we are not interested. We are fixed in Brahman. We have nothing to do with this world. And so in this way, they refuse to obey their father, Lord Brahma. But because it's a superior realization, Lord Brahma's duty was not on that level. The Brahma Kumar, they were on a higher realization. So they could discard the order of their father without any problem. Then at one point, they went to the precincts, the gates of Vaikuntha, and there they had the fragrance coming from Vaikuntha. What is that fragrance? Fragrance coming from the lotus feet of Lord Vishnu. And the fragrance is mixed the aroma of the tulasi leaf on the feet of Lord Vishnu. Smelling this wonderful fragrance, they had no such experience in the material world. And their happiness increased unlimitedly. And they thought, oh, this is so wonderful. Oh, what is this Brahma Sukha? No, this is insignificant. Now we are in the association of the Supreme Lord, and we are enjoying unlimited bliss in His association. In this way, they became devotees of the Lord by this realization. So that is one example of impersonal, great transcendentalist coming to the platform of personal realization. But Lord Krishna says that it is very difficult to follow in the footsteps of the four Kumaras, because in the 12th chapter, now the beginning, Arjuna is inquiring that Evam satata yukta ye bhaktastvam paryupasate ye chapyaksharam avyaktam tesham ke yogavittamaha. Arjuna inquired, which are considered to be more perfect, those who are always properly engaged in your devotional service, or those who worship the impersonal Brahman, the unmanifested? The Supreme Lord is answering to this. Maya vesyamano ye mam nitya yukta upasate Sadhaya parayopetas teme yuktatama mataha. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, those who fix their minds on my personal form and are always engaged in worshipping me with great and transcendental faith are considered by me to be most perfect. Ye tvaksharamanirdesyam ajaktam paryupasate sarvatragam achintyam cha kutastam achalam dhruvam sanniyam yendriya gramam sarvatra samabuddhaya te praptuvanti mameva sarvabhuta hite rataha. But those who fully worship the unmanifested, that which lies beyond the perception of the senses, the all-pervading, inconceivable, unchanging, fixed and immovable, the impersonal conception of the Absolute Truth, by controlling the various senses and being equally disposed to everyone, such persons engaged in the welfare of all, at last achieve me. But then the warning comes in the next sloka. Klesho dhikatarastesham avyakta sakta chetasam avyakta higatir dukkham dehavadbhir avyapyate. For those whose minds are attached to the unmanifested, impersonal feature of the Supreme, advancement is very troublesome. To make progress in that discipline is always difficult for those who are embodied. So this series of slokas is very clearly explained by Lord Krishna to Arjuna about his impersonal feature. Lord Krishna does not deny the reality or the existence of the impersonal Brahman. He says that, yes, if you can realize this, then ultimately you may come to me. But this is a very long way. You will have to transcend all the different stages of realization and ultimately coming to the stage of pure devotion. Then you can realize the full absolute truth in all its features and ultimately come to me. That is the ultimate destination. Simply realizing the impersonal Brahman will take you to the in between the Nirakar Brahma, which is situated in between the material and spiritual world, which has no variety. And as in the Bhagavatam, it is also mentioned that if you become situated in this impersonal status, then there is a chance of coming back to the material world, because there is no engagement there. You cannot engage your senses. You have given up your personal sense of identity, and you are experiencing some type of blissfulness in the sense that there is no misery. You are in a state of undifferentiated existence. But as your soul again awakens, the real quality of the soul is to be always engaged in spiritual activity. But in the impersonal Brahman, there is no spiritual activity. You cannot engage your senses in any way. So there is the danger, again coming back to this world, again engaging in welfare activities and so on, pious activities, again coming up and down. Ultimately, if you do not become a devotee of the Lord, as Lord Krishna says very clearly, then it is always very difficult. So this was also the warning of Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, that if you become fixed up in the impersonal realization, then you are not perfectly realized. So it is just like as Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explains. Srila Prabhupada explains in many other ways also in the course of his commentaries on different slokas about what is the personality of Godhead. He is compared to the sun god. The sun planet is compared to the localized aspect of the Lord. And the sun rays are the impersonal extension of the sun. So the sun rays are situated everywhere throughout the universe. The sun rays are reaching every corner of the universe. But if somebody wants to analyze, wants to understand, what is this sun? What is this sunlight? He can analyze, first of all, what is the sunlight, but that is not the end of it. What is the origin of the sunlight? The sunlight takes its origin from the sun globe. So we have to understand, where is the sun globe? What is the orbit of the sun globe? No? How does it generate so much energy in the shape of light and heat? This has to be analyzed by the scientist if he wants to understand this phenomenon. And ultimately, who is there in the sun globe? The sun god, Vivaswan. He is the personality of the sun. And he is the one who is the origin of the sun globe and the sun rays, the light and the heat. So everything, ultimately, everything emanates from the personality of the sun god. Similarly, the personality of Godhead, Lord Sri Krishna, has various emanations, expansions, representations, and energies, and he is distributed. Ishvara Sarva Bhutanam Hriddesha Gunatishtati. As Paramatma, he is everywhere, in everyone's heart, directing everyone, controlling everything, and also he is everywhere situated as the impersonal Brahman. So these are the three different aspects. The Bhagavatam says that Vadanti Tattvavidas Tattvam Yajnanam Advayam Brahmeti Paramatmeti Bhagavaniti Sadyate. Know that it is Advaya Jnanam. Advaya Jnanam means that there is no difference between the different aspects of the Lord. It is one undivided knowledge. So those who are transcendentalists, they may fix their attention on any of these aspects. Brahmeti, Paramatmeti, Bhagavaniti, Sadyate. But ultimately, Bhagavan is the ultimate aspect. All aspects are transcendental. They are completely spiritual, nirguna, without any material aspect. But the Supreme Lord is the source of all of them. And this is the ultimate realization. So the transcendentalists in this way, they go. Either they go from one step to the next, or they approach directly the Supreme Lord. Here, Dhruva Maharaj, he approached directly the Supreme Lord, first of all meeting his spiritual master, who is telling him to chant the mantra, Dvasakshara mantra, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. That is an address to the Supreme Lord Vasudeva. But after approaching Vasudeva, after getting the blessings of the Lord, he is also aware of other aspects of the Lord, such as the impersonal aspect. In this way, he is also offering obeisances to him in that manner. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur in this way describing that as we approach a land, if we move across a land, as a distance is facing what seems to be a city, may be very vague, that is some mist because of the contamination of the city. There is air pollution, so you see some type of cloud that is on the horizon. But we do not see anything special, we only see some cloud. And as we approach the cloud, then we shall see some distinct features that belong to the city, such as windows, gates. And as we go nearer and nearer, then we can see that there is a variety of features, such as marketplaces, streets, and houses, apartments, and so on. And then we understand that the city is populated by many inhabitants. These inhabitants are not visible earlier. It is only when we come to the city that we see the traffic jams and so on. And other people gathering in some cases and going for their personal reasons. So that is a gradual realization of the city. First of all, from the distance, then gradually understanding everything beyond this. So this can be compared with from the second movement of God. The personal aspect is very great, and that is the wisdom realization. Then the Bhagavatam realization is something more personal, that is the relative of the Lord, the onlooker, the witness, and the auditor of all our activities. And then the Supreme Lord himself, we can reach him. And in this way, the city management, each of the so if we become stuck in this Brahman realization, then we are as Godhead said, from the beginning there is power. And even as we progress, and even as we come to the end, there also is input. Because how to change how to philosophy is become very fixed up in one philosophy. And if we come across a personal philosophy, then there is two minds. One aspect, impersonal aspect, is simply there, and then we want to talk about the personal aspect, the second of himself. So there shall be two minds. So we have to be very much convinced that the second law is the original reality. Aham sarvam sarvam. I am the original reality. Bhakta sarvam bhakta. Everything emanates from me. The Brahmajyoti, Impersonal Brahman, that is only the completion of the effulgence, very effulgence, that is emanating from the body of the Lord. It is simply an effulgence. We have to go to the effulgence. As I did so many times over this whole thing. That Vidya, Avidya, the impersonal Brahman, so makes everything, all other issues, positive and negative, Vidya and Avidya, that is also there in the impersonal aspect. But we have to discriminate accidentally, we have to come to the conclusion that we have to choose Vidya over Avidya. Avidya to some extent useful for maintaining the body, the proper condition, so that we perform the service. So we use some material knowledge, so sometimes we have to go to the doctor and fix the body in a good manner. But it is not the final objective. Objective is body should be maintained for the sake of acquiring pure spiritual knowledge in God. We cannot become us today. That is the proper utilization of the human body. So, the analysis impersonal Brahman is not the beginning. Although it appears for some to be doing everything, everything is included in Brahman. And it appears that Brahman is the cause of everything. Even this mentioned here that this Brahman, the person Brahman, is the cause of the material manifestation. How to understand this? Because it is there the Bhagavatam, we cannot deny. Just like I give an example that see very rich man, he has a big palace, it's a very costly mansion, and he has many cars,
people in their scars, and there are so many servants in his house. The person who sees all this is confident living. He understands what is the cause of this confident living. Money has brought all this. Money is the cause of this confidence. Because of money only, he has to change his mansion, his car, and he needs such a high life. Because of money, so money is called the second personal command. So, what is money? Does money exist by itself? Or is it caused by something else? Money ultimately belongs to the proprietor of the house. And because the proprietor of the house, and especially ingredients of the and so on, he has been able to recognize money, and there are this high standard of life. So money is a cause, yes, but not the ultimate cause. It is a proximate cause. And the ultimate cause is the personality who is having that money, the possessor, who is holding that money. He has used that money for his purposes. He is the personality who should be paid. Why should we pay money? Some people are after money, but they should understand how to utilize money. If you give money to a person who has no intelligence, you will lose that money. Money should be used properly by a person who is very intelligent. Then, wonderful things can happen. Ultimately, the purpose of life can be fulfilled. So, similarly, impersonal Brahman is everything is there, and it appears to be the cause of everything. But no, we have to go deeper in the realization. Ultimately, we should understand that, as Bhagavan said, that Yasya so Brahma is also offering obeisances. But certainly he is praising, acknowledging impersonal Brahman. And what is Brahman? So Brahma says, what is this impersonal Brahman? That is the effulgence. The effulgence on the body of the son-in-law Govinda, and that effulgence is the origin comprising all the universes, all the planets. Having all manifestations, all types of living conditions, everything is there in the Brahman. But Lord Brahma, does he observe his existence to universal Brahman? He acknowledges, he is in awe and reverence to the impersonal Brahman. Yes, impersonal Brahman is there. But Govinda he offers his obeisances ultimately. The Govinda, the Supreme Lord, who is the core, ultimate core for everything. So that is the proper understanding here. We can end this explanation and any questions or comments. Before coming into Islam, all the Vedanta books which are available outside, their 99.9% they are impersonalism. So, illegal, nowhere they give how to connect with God. So, I don't know at that point of time about the word fascination and fascination. But I was only interested in how to connect with God. The connection, trying to connect with God itself may be very uncomfortable in reading the books we read about other books. But finally, I got in touch with the Buddha. My mother has been reading in the Buddha, Prabhupada, fascism approach has been how to connect with what happens after what so they approach us fascism. So after coming into ISKCON family, see that we have the help of the group. Fascism, what is fascism, what is impersonalism, and what to do, what is important in this fascism. That I actually are coming to Islam. So I thank Prabhupada, you, all the devotees here for giving me fascism. As we understand about the details of the Mayavadis are the people who are with no form groups of scripture. They are like horizontal approach for the progress. And the vertical side of form, how these people with the no form concept, they get limited to the level of form. And then see Anandmaya, all the yogis waited with devotion, they can begin in their Vaishnavas. And Krishna is eternal and he has the body and he has the wisdom. Within that light, the eternal and effective form of Krishna is existing. This is the unity of perfection. How do the basic hands and how do they get activated with this yes, that is very important. To come from the state of impersonalism to reach the state of personal realization, that is possible by testing pure person. When a biology or impersonalism comes in contact with the devotee of the Lord, his mind may change, and he may try to understand that there is a so personal aspect in the absolute truth. But unfortunately, the Mayavadis, they have their own commentaries, and they are distributing their literature in the extensive manner. I have also the same experience coming to India and to Hyderabad, education, and then so many books available, so I could share those books. And they were impersonal, written by impersonalists. And so I was inspiring that so I was thinking that I have been realizing that these commentaries are not complete. They only give some little explanation, but it is not complete. So I was looking for somebody or some group who could give me a complete understanding of the Bhagavad-gita, not just some impersonal comment. So, by the grace of the devotees of the Lord, the impersonalists can come to the proper realization. Otherwise, they will be scattered in their own realization. They cannot come to the higher state. So they are I didn't understand the attitude that they are speaking. But the question is why are not everybody able to be working this information? That the people are really stuck up in the impersonal realization and not moving to the personal realization. That is the question. Yes. That is certainly their own efficiency. Impersonal conception is just next to atheism. And just like in jail, you find all kinds of opinions. So similarly, this passage of word is also like that. But these are times when all reasons we are now under recognition as the Prabhupada is studying in some society to reform the people who are living in this country as well, as well as their own religions. So, sometimes they don't get reformed. They are just too much engrossed in their criminal processes, and they don't want to come out of it. So, that is the position. So, Krishna said also very clearly that the devotees are very few. Manushyanam satsvetu tasya siddhaya dadhanam api siddhanam tasya mam vedi tattva. Very few are interested in self-realization, and all those who are self-realized will particularly only become the devotees of the Lord. So that is Lord Krishna himself is telling, so we can just understand that we are so fortunate to have come to the shelter of the sun, decided by Srila Prabhupada to become acquainted with the devotional service and to begin ourselves in devotional service. Otherwise, on the personal deity is aloof from that. We are immersed in their day-to-day materialistic activities, and some maybe some are trying to become self-realized in an impersonal aspect of the truth. So that is the condition we have to accept it. Devotees are very few. Not everybody can become devotee. But we are patient in the same. Okay, I don't know how to do that is our mission. And if even one person, these numbers are very good. If I can make one single pure devotee in my life, I will think that my life is successful. My life is successful. That's one. That is the. So we are all going to be here under the shelter of Sri and becoming trying to become the voices of the God. We already said about this, trying to do this. Hare Krishna, the Prabhupada,
आए नहीं कुछ पूछने जा रहे थे ऐसे सुनने सुनने में आंसर मिल गया